Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Joe Theodore, and it's an honor to have you here with me today. So, guys, welcome to your weekly astrology report. And if you are watching this, you most likely are seeing this on YouTube, of course, but I just wanted to make a quick announcement before I begin this astrology report because this is going to be a major week, actually. We're finally starting to see that shift out of Gemini. So I personally have been waiting for this energy to kind of leave already because I have heavy Gemini placements, and I can tell you right now, the overwhelm and the stimulation has been a bit much, especially with the Mars-Pluto, square. But that being said, I want to just make a few announcements before I begin. One, I'm starting to upload these weeklies on my Patreon, either Thursday evenings or Friday mornings. So if you ever want to support me and the channel financially in any way, even, I think my lowest tier is about $5. My highest tier is $10, which eventually if we get 15 to 20 $10 tier subscribers, I will be hosting monthly live Q&As. But yeah, I'm going to start posting the weeklies along with the monthlies early. So the weekly reports will be available either Thursday nights or Friday mornings before I release them on Sundays here. So if anyone's interested in watching these a little earlier, just wanted to say that. And then the last thing before I begin really is if you want to book a reading with me or purchase any of my pre-recorded classes, because I am a passionate teacher, you can click and explore all the links I have down below. Just read everything, go click around, and, if anything interests you or you want to connect with me personally, please do. All right, guys, so this coming week, and one more thing actually as well. I think the format of the channel might change slightly. I'm going to put more emphasis in explaining things that are going on during the week, I think, in these weeklies. So I want to build up the detail a little bit more with the weekly forecasts. And then during the week, I want to upload more educational videos, meaning like picking apart, birth chart placements or retrograde planets and what does that mean for you in a birth chart? What does that mean in the sky? Like more educational videos mixed in with, of course, if we have a massive or very important transit or aspect going on in the sky that I think is very important to highlight once again after the weekly, I'll also do that. But I really want to kind of just make the format a little bit more balanced where I do the weeklies and that's a really focused week ahead, insights for you. And then I want to mix in more of my teaching, to the channel. And I know there's a lot of people out there who are beginners and yes, even intermediates, because I'm not an advanced teacher. I'm not teaching that high level stuff. And I know there's a lot of people out there really starting to get into astrology. And as a teacher, I'm really passionate about that, helping others learn and kind of just understand what things mean, especially just from my shamanic and evolutionary astrological background. So yeah, guys, that's really, not a major change, but I want to just make it clear that I have been saying in the past couple weeks, I don't want to emphasize so much on the weeklies, but I kind of want to put more, effort into them to really kind of just give you what I think is going to be happening. And so I don't have to focus like another 20 or so minute video on something that I've already sort of talked about in the weekly. And again, I just really want to teach more. So that said, guys, enough with my spiels. Let's go through the moon phases of the week. So we start the week off with a Scorpio moon. We go through the middle of the week with a Sagittarius moon. And then we end the week with the moon in Capricorn. And as the moon goes into Capricorn, we immediately have a Capricorn full moon. I've already done a whole video on the Capricorn full moon that I posted like maybe 3 days after the new moon in Gemini, because I already had a lot of intuitive insight on what this Capricorn full moon would mean for us already. And I'll talk about more of the Capricorn full moon in a bit, but in the beginning of these reports, I just like showing you, okay, the moon, where's the moon going to be during the week? The moon will start off in Scorpio. So we're going to have that, we're going to start the week with that feeling of, maybe a little bit of, I don't want to say depression or anything, but Scorpio moons usually always bring us a little bit of melancholy, a little bit of, intuitive depth. So, sometimes depending on what's going on in your chart, the Scorpio moon kind of can always bring us back down to a more psychological place. So I feel like a lot of us kind of just like get to a place of, okay, things start to become a little bit more clear. You start discovering more things about certain things that maybe were hidden from you. And then we move on in the middle of the week to the Sagittarius moon, where I think we begin to become inspired. There's always an inspirational energy when this moon is in Sagittarius. And no matter what's going on around you and in the sky, I feel like we do get these bursts of inspiration. You might feel more energy to exercise or do something. So that's going to be a wonderful feeling, I think, during the middle of the week. And then as we move through Sagittarius, feeling that ingress into Capricorn where the full moon will happen, we also have our summer solstice moment where the most light will be in the sky, which is also why I think this full moon is very auspicious, because we are going to have a lot of light in the sky. There's going to be a lot of momentum and a lot of insight for putting our intentions from the new moon and really seeing in a serious way, really putting our eyes on whatever's going on, maybe connected to the Gemini new moon intentions or not, but definitely whatever's going on in your Capricorn story in your birth chart. There's going to be an emphasis on, is something working out in my life in this particular area? What is illuminated? Is there something I need to focus more on? Do I need to really work harder right now? Because Capricorn full moons always kind of bring something into the spotlight that, or Capricorn full moons, if I said that correctly, bring something into the spotlight, into our consciousness. It is very illuminated and very bright because the sun, and it will be more bright this time because of the summer solstice. And it's going to be asking us, what is something, do we need to really be serious about something that needs to be nurtured further? Because the Cancer sun will always be balancing out the full moon in Capricorn with this understanding of nurturing. But Capricorn wants to be serious and work hard and to have ambition and to succeed, right? So the energy of success and moving forward and doing the right thing in regarding to something that you find very serious in your life is going to be highlighted in a major way, more so than any other year, because of the summer solstice falling directly on it. I'll get more into all of this in a minute. Now let's start off with Monday. Monday, from Sunday night into Monday, we have a Venus-Mercury conjunction in Cancer. So this is the first moment that we're going to have. So we're immediately starting the week with that shift out of Gemini into Cancer. So essentially, in my opinion, Cancer season begins when this happens, because Mercury and Venus are such powerful personal planets. We are going to feel the shift out of the Gemini air and chaos. We're going to feel that shift away from the Neptunian energy that was, hitting Gemini this whole time. So again, the squares from Neptune towards Mercury and Venus at 29 degrees before their ingress into Cancer, I think is going to provide us with, again, we're going to get out of that Neptunian fog, or maybe we're going to get hit with that burst of creative energy, from that square. Even though it's a square, we could get hit with visions and just like this, very creative overwhelm, or things will just suddenly, become clearer, actually, because sometimes when we're in the fog of Neptune, we understand things. We might be able to see something that was like, okay, that was actually not good for me. Or those connections I was involved in or trying to make during that new moon phase were actually, that's not actually the direction or those types of people I want to be around. Then as we move forward into Cancer, we become more at ease, I feel, with whatever Neptune's story with that square might have been showing us. So having a Venus-Mercury conjunction is common for the most, it's somewhat common, but I love when they're so close together and they transit in the sky so connected, because it really is poetic and it really is, it really allows communication to, be more creative, and I think a lot of people born with this conjunction have a beautiful way of speaking, they have a beautiful mind, and they have this real amazing intention to connect to things that are beautiful or creative. Now, in the shadow of this, we could be faced with, maybe having too much glittering eyes, where we have to be a little bit more practical, in our life. Sometimes life is not all about poetry. Sometimes we need to be really focused and practical. But again, I don't really think that has to do with this particular transit. I think this conjunction going into Cancer is just that first wave of Cancer season we're going to get. I think we're going to be nurtured by the Venusian and the Mercurial. I think Mercury getting out of its domicile into the water will kind of tone things down. But I think this, this activation of nurturing and this activation of, what do I need to do, or what do we all need to do to kind of feel, safe? So I think there's going to be a lot of connection and a lot of communication around safety and security, and how do we feel, how could we stay inspired, and, just really, how can we keep things beautiful in our life? How can we maintain beauty? So for me, I think this is really the first wave of Cancer season, because the sun will get into Cancer literally Thursday, right? And I'll get to that. But to me, when you have these two powerful personal planets shifting from Gemini out of this Neptune square fog into Cancer, we're already going to feel that. We're already going to start to feel, oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, things are starting to conclude with all that Gemini stuff. I think I'm starting to understand a little bit more of that. And, now we're shifting into a new watery vibe, which is going to be very sensitive. So we might actually get more sensitive. We might actually maybe get more emotional this coming week. Something may be occurring that makes us feel more emotional, honestly. So that's another big thing to consider. Emotions may hit us on a very, very deep level. We're maybe crying. Maybe we'll all have to cry at something. Maybe something will occur. Maybe something beautiful will happen and we will be more emotional. So I think this week actually might be an emotional, transition from Gemini into Cancer. Now, Wednesday, the sun will go to the anaretic degree of Gemini. It will be squaring Neptune now. So now the sun will officially be directly hit by Neptune. So I think this will be maybe a continuation of the Venus-Mercury square with Neptune, but now we're dealing with the sun. So again, I think this is the final moment where Gemini season is sort of on its last, the power of whatever, all the things we've been experiencing in Gemini are going to start simmering down. So I think this moment, this Neptunian square, is going to either provide an extreme burst of creative insight, or because we're dealing with a square, and that creative insight might be a little challenging, but it will lead you to a more positive and truthful place. Or, in the more negative sense, this Neptunian fog will illumine something that will bring us into a place of confusion where we're not really sure of anything. I will have a moment, I think, on Wednesday where we just might be in this doubtful place, where we're just confused about maybe some of the choices we made. Now, the difference between that shadowy aspect that could have transpired with the Venusian and the Mercurial when they were at the 29th degree is with the sun, we're dealing with, I feel, the destiny of maybe an aspect of that particular part of your life that you felt really solid in. So the sun is like one of the prime focuses in the sky that is allowing us to maybe foresee what destiny could be. There's a lot of potential for birthing, at the most top level place. And the sun also represents the ego, the personality, the persona. So something involving our identity in regards to the Gemini part of your life might get a little confusing. But not to fear, my friends, because the sun will ingress literally within hours on Thursday. And that's the chart you're seeing now. So Thursday, the sun will go into Cancer, and it will be linked once again with Mercury and Venus. So this will be the official start of the summer. The summer solstice will perfect pretty much within hours after the sun enters Cancer. And this is also where we begin a sextile with Mars. So this is where Mars will begin to influence its power, its action, its assertiveness, it will begin to influence everything that goes on in Cancer from this point forth. And Mercury will be not exactly in an exact sextile, but we're getting there. Or maybe it is actually. Mercury will be sextiling. I have in my notes, it's going to be making a pretty profound sextile. So this sextile is serious. This sextile is on the money. So the fact that the first moment the sun is in Cancer, we're having this powerful sextile, is the beginning of a very activated Cancer season. So I know I said when Venus and Mercury ingress, we're gonna get emotional. There's gonna be a heightened sensitivity after that, whatever the Neptune square kind of provided towards the end of Gemini. But now Mars is gonna activate something, within the Cancer story of your life, within whatever house topic Cancer is falling for you, whatever area of your life that is. Mercury is going to be almost like lighting a flame and throwing it over to Cancer. And it's going to be supportive because the sextile is always a more supportive aspect. It provides energy and it provides focus and action that we need to even enhance maybe the continuation of some of the things in the Gemini part of your life, because this is all, the astrology is just a moving story that continues on, and then yes, chapters shift and change. And, at one point we're going to forget about the Gemini stories in our life. But again, seeds were planted and things just, once we do something in our life, that karma is created and it continues on in some way. And in this particular karma, we're going to be moving into the Cancer part of our lives this year. And Mars will be directly influencing that. It will be directly influencing that. So we can see action in our communication. The Mercury is going to be activated with Mars. So I think we're going to understand how to better use our language and words, or the way we communicate, more effectively. I think if we might have started the Cancer moment off very emotional with Venus and Mercury, and now the sun is there, we could now be getting out of that emotional space a little bit, but also having more emphasis on the way we are speaking and communicating. And again, Mars wants to be sharp and direct and provide the fire to move forward, right? So that's very important, guys, because this Thursday is the beginning of all of Mars's influence on Cancer for all of Cancer season, for all of the planets that will be in Cancer, and of course the entire transit the sun is in Cancer. Now Friday night, look at the chart. Full moon in Capricorn. Then Mars will sextile to Mercury, Venus, and Cancer. Mars will sextile, Venus more now, Mercury, of course, still very dominantly. And all of Cancer, yes, like I just said, will be highlighted by Mars's influence. But let's focus on the full moon for a moment. I made a whole video on this already. I might make one more video on this after I post this weekly. Like this coming week, I might do another video on the full moon. But this full moon in Capricorn is very important because it falls exactly on the summer solstice, right? And the summer solstice provides the most light in the sky. Symbolically to me, this is saying, hey, there is so much emphasis on life and what life needs to, what energy of life needs to be brought into whatever is being illuminated for you in your Capricorn part of your life. There's going to be an emphasis on you needing to get serious on what needs to work for you. There needs to be an emphasis of ambition and hard work and focus, right? Now, some of this will be tied into the Gemini new moon story, right? Because every lunation style from new moon to full moon does wrap up something, whether this is based on actions you've taken or intellectual, ideas that may or may not be working out now. So again, every new moon intention kind of gets carried over to the full moon, and we get a gauge if things are working or not working, or do things need to be continuing on a little further, or do we need to let go now? And when the full moon is in Capricorn, the message is always ambition, hard work, seriousness, taking your life seriously, taking this moment seriously, not just letting something fade away into the background, like really dealing with something, and I feel some of us who may know there is something in our life regarding these things, whether the Gemini new moon story or not, that focusing and putting the work in is actually the only way to truly understand if something is right for us. Or if you really know that there's something that you want to pursue and succeed and move forward in, you still need to put the hard work in. Like there's something very dominant happening in my life right now that I didn't really see coming. But I do see a lot of growth in this one area of my life. I see a lot of potential growing in a certain direction. And to me, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, I think Capricorn's full moon story is saying, Joe, you need to focus on this now. Like the universe is putting a spotlight, again, the amazing light in the sky with the summer solstice moment. It's really shining a spotlight for me on this one thing in my life. And it's telling me, hey, you need to maybe work hard on this. Like put more work into this thing that's obviously growing. And it's something I used to be passionate about, and I kind of just started revisiting recently. And it's starting to get a lot of like attention, and I'm starting to see like things grow there in that department. Like I'm seeing people interested in this one particular thing in my life. It's just some other hobby I have, right? But I always wanted to like focus on it and like, do stuff with it. And I'm not going to get into the details, guys, because it'll throw me off track. You know how I like to ramble. But the Capricorn new moon is telling me, hey, this thing is growing. Like this thing is revealing itself to you in your life to maybe become something serious in your life again, or something that may be worth your while. And Capricorn saying, hey, ambition, hard work, is this something you should take seriously? So for me, I could already tell by the end of this week, I'm going to be faced with, maybe even more intuitive and very, very conscious knowledge of where I might stand with where I want to go with that particular area of my life. And yes, Mercury and Venus will start to get even more. Venus now moving closer to the aspect with Mars will really begin to get affected now by the Martian. So Mars will begin to affect Venus now, which again, I think the Venusian, the creative, the love, the connections, something's going to happen on that emotional level now. Maybe what has continued from the Gemini story, the connections you might have made. But now Mars is going to provide the action and the energy and the assertiveness with our communication, because Mercury is also affected by Mars still, of course, that we'll be able to even, we're going to have the energy, again, Mars just provides us with the fire and the sharpness we need to accelerate life, accelerate our life, accelerate work we want to do, accelerate, relationships. And Mars will be, again, starting to touch the Venusian now, which I think is a beautiful, everything is lining up. This full moon, with Mars affecting Mercury and Venus, we're having such beautiful, synchronistic moments happening one after another. And there's a lot of positive, there's a lot of positive magic in the air for us to consciously manifest with, and to just be so aware of when it's arising in our life. So for me, when any full moon gets activated, and even a new moon, to be honest, these major points in the sky with lunar phases, when Mars has a positive aspect, it's just adding the potential for, even more progression forward, even more, opportunity for manifestation, Now, Saturday is really the same as Friday, really. The full moon energy sort of settled in. Here's the chart, but guys, or maybe the chart's up there. I'm not sure if the chart's up there. I don't think I'm actually putting a chart up there. But really, Saturday is the same as Friday. Saturday is like an integration phase of the full moon energy. We're still dealing with the sextiles from Mars to Venus and Mercury. Like that's going to be an active transit, the Mars sextiles, for like days to come, really, towards the end of the week, into the next week. So So Mars's influence on the Venusian and the Mercurial is very important. That will help us settle more of these full moon energies in. I think it'll give us that energy to even, really put more effort and emphasis in to the full moon story in your life. Like for me, in my example I just shared, I feel that Mars will give me more confidence and action to feel, more confidence and more energy to, feel good about the potential of what could come from that thing that has been kind of rebirthing itself in my life. So I think Saturday next week will be a really great day for inspiration and confidence and for just feeling overall good. We're going to feel just amazing. The start of the summer is getting that burst of Mars. And, and that full moon in Capricorn for some of us is going to really illuminate stuff we need to work hard on and really put more emphasis in an ambitious way, And of course, don't feel sad or upset if you haven't figured anything out yet. But again, this is where shamanic astrological magic is important, because when things aren't literally manifesting in your life where you can take advantage of these transits playing out, I think you can take these moments and these full moon moments and these new moon moments to pray and ask to the universe and your guides or whatever to give you the inspiration, to give you the energy, to give you the insight to have one of these, to have something manifest in your life so these energies can translate, to something that arises in your reality coming soon. But for some of us and most of us, there is always something that's sort of just there in the astrological field, So pay attention. Now, to close off the week, guys, Sunday, Mars sextile to Venus getting stronger. So Venus's emphasis with Mars will get stronger. So this could be, in heightened connections and creativity and love. You may feel even more passion, in a love department. And again, I don't know what you were going through in Gemini with relationships or connections involving the Venusian, but, Cancer is like, we're really sinking into our emotions and our sensitivity. So Mars could be activating any love story, any deeply connected story from your Gemini story that we recently went through. And it could really be like, this could be the moment where you really fall in love and the sparks really fly. Or this could be the moment when you finally sleep with that person you were dating for all these weeks. This could be that moment, guys. And I hate to bring in sexual things, but it's like, imagine, you date someone for a few weeks from the new moon phase to this phase. And now when Mars connects with this sextile to the Mercury and to the Mars can very well be like that time, hey, it's now the time to get intimate. It's now the time to get intimate. So yeah, the Sunday, this is really not like the biggest update for Sunday. I'm kind of just grasping at straws a little bit, but I think the more we get that Mars sextile can't be, I feel like this is a beautiful moment. I do feel that's going to be a very beautiful emphasis on energy, an emphasis on Martian passion. So that's why I say with the love stuff, guys, potentially. The love stuff can bring a lot of passion. It's going to bring a lot of passion to your speech, your emotions, your feelings, anything you feel creatively connected to, and that could be other people as well, right? All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for you today. I hope that this report found you well. I hope you can take this into your week. I will make videos if I feel it's appropriate to highlight anything further in this report. I will definitely make another video on the new moon. I may talk a little bit more about this Martian stuff because I really do feel that's important to highlight. So maybe I'll get a little more specific on that. But other than that, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to catch these reports a little bit earlier than my release on YouTube, click down below, head over to my Patreon, and consider just being a $5 member, And that'll not only help me and the channel and my efforts to continue making content, but also, you guys, just being able to have more resources to make more content is always my goal here. So until next time, everyone, sending you much love. See you soon.